Hey guys, what's up? So, we're about to review Captain America Brave New World. Okay, let's get into it. So, how is Anthony Mackie as Captain America? Is he good? Is he not good? Is it better than Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier? Well, interestingly enough, going into this movie, I didn't actually see any trailers, or I avoided trailers as much as possible. So, because I had watched the Falcon Winter Soldier movie, going into it, I was expecting Bucky to be like everywhere in the for him to be in the movie at least, right? And at no point was he. I wouldn't say at no point, but he's like, yeah, there's no Winter Soldier. I was like, what's going on here? So I guess I was just used to the buddy cop thing going on between the two of them. So no Winter Soldier here was interesting. But anyway, besides that, I watched the movie. I watched the trailers after the movie. So, based off of that, I'm going to do a review. I am not going to spoil anything. So, if you haven't seen it yet, feel free to watch this one. It'll let you know whether or not you should go watch this movie. Let's get into it. So, Captain America Brave New World is a story about Captain America, more or less, but not about Captain America. Essentially, the plot line has a villain who is looking to, cause some mischief, which leads to a situation going down with the Americans and the Japanese and the French and I think it was Saudi Arabia. If anyone has watched Eternals, which I'm sure everyone has seen Eternals, everyone's favorite Marvel movie, in Eternals, at the very end of the movie, spoilers for those who haven't watched Eternals, but there's this giant celestial that shows up in the middle of the water, or was supposed to break out of the earth, and while doing that also destroy the earth, but they stopped it, so now it's just a huge island that's reaching out into the sky. And for a while, we've all been saying, hey, what happened to that celestial island over there? What is Marvel going to do with that? And this is what, 5 years, 6 years since that movie came out, and now they're finally addressing it. Essentially, somehow, on this island, there's a new metal called adamantium. Adamantium, wink, wink. Adamantium, again, they bring it up a bunch of times within the movie, hinting at X-Men. So there's this metal in there called adamantium, which is described as like vibranium, but better, is basically how they describe it in the movie. And it's not a metal that is being restricted by the Wakandans, because it's an island in the middle of, I think, the Indian Pacific Ocean, one of the oceans. Essentially, the plot surrounds a bunch of countries trying to sign a treaty so that they can all share the resources from the vibranium and get all types of technological advancements and save the world with, this other metal source, right? That's basically the plot in a nutshell in terms of what's happening within the world. Now, there is a conference or a press conference that happens, and then assassination attempts on the president lead to an investigation to figure out what's actually going on, and that unravels a bunch of different things throughout the film. So that's kind of like on the surface what the movie's about in terms of the plot, all that kind of stuff. Now, below the surface, what the movie's about in terms of like the actual themes and getting into the most simple aspects of the story, I would say that the movie is about a father who has an estranged relationship with his daughter and is looking to redeem himself in front of his daughter so that they can, be together again, which in essence is a sweet story, right? But you're probably thinking, wait a minute, I thought this was a movie about Captain America, and Captain America, at least the old one, didn't have any kids. So does Sam Wilson have kids? Sam Wilson has a daughter? Oh, cool. We're going to explore his daughter's, I guess, estranged relationship with him. Was that in the show that I didn't watch? Is that where his daughter was? And the answer to that is no, he does not have a daughter. But yes, that is what the movie's about. And I guess you'll have to watch it to figure out what I mean. And for those of you who have watched it, wink, wink, that is what the movie's about. And I guess my issue with the movie, my biggest issue with the movie is that it's not about the main character. And for me, the reason why that's an issue, and just to show my cards here, I absolutely love what the MCU has done. I can't even begin to say the amount of hours spent watching these series and sort of being able to witness the rise and the fall of the series. And I'll watch these movies multiple times in theaters by myself, studying everything that's being done. So for me, at least, this movie in particular means a lot because of the fact that Captain America has always been my favorite Avenger. And I've always loved the Captain America movies, even before they were popular. Those who know, know. And essentially, I have high hopes for this movie in terms of it doing well, because Marvel's been terrible lately. I want them to be better. I know they can be better. They need to do better. But unfortunately, the movie doesn't hit the high notes from phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3. Now, the good news is that it doesn't even hit the low notes of phases 1, 2, and yes, 3 had some low notes as well, right? So the positive is that it's not, terrible. There's some improvement. But honestly, the main issue with the movie, and this has to do with all the writers involved and all the reshoots, probably. They tried to just cobble together something at the end of the movie. It feels like it was maybe about something else, and they tried to switch it and make it about a different plot line or storyline. But essentially, the movie isn't about the main character, and what Marvel was founded on was focusing on their main characters. What Marvel is about is the superhero, and how that hero inspires others to be heroic. And the issue with this movie is that because there's a lack of focus on that hero, he's not given a chance to be heroic. And because he's not given a chance to be that hero in the way that you'd want him to, it ends up falling flat at the end. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a fight scene at the end. He ends up beating the villain. But the issue here is that because of the lack of focus they gave Sam, when he's overcoming that final fight, it's just a fight that seems out of place. There's no, I don't want to say there's no stakes, but there's no proper conflict established between the characters. And in turn, leading up to the battle, there isn't something that Sam has to overcome, whether that's internally, physically, whatever, for him to bring himself to that battle. In every movie, you have that scene where your main character is down and out. Something happens and they're at the lowest of lows. That happens in this movie, but it's not built up at all. And when it does happen, a character comes into the movie that you didn't know was going to be in the movie, wasn't expecting him to be in the movie, wanted him to be in the movie more, but he's just there for this one scene to pep talk the hero. But you didn't even know he was going through what he was going through until that specific scene. So that's a problem. That's a huge problem, because what made Marvel work is Iron Man, where the entire first half of that movie is Tony Stark in a cave with a box of scraps. That's the movie for the whole first half. And it's in that first half that wins you over. Captain America, the original Captain America, there was so much focus and attention and emphasis on Steve and the character and the person with the heart the heart of that character. And they could have carried on in that legacy, but for whatever reason, there seems to be a huge lack of focus on this main character. And I will say that with all the other Marvel movies that have also performed incredibly poorly over the last 5 years, it's been a similar problem where you have not had a focus on the main character in any of those films, except for maybe Shang-Chi. And again, because of that, you end up getting what you end up getting. Now, the movie's not terrible by any means. They execute in a lot of different areas well, particularly on the filmmaking side of things. I didn't necessarily like certain shots, and the movie looked a little dark for me in terms of the way it was colored. Maybe it was the theater I was in, but visually it wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't like the Batman level in terms of visuals. So to me, yeah, all those things are not, because they're not done poorly, it doesn't necessarily harm the film or hurt it in any way, which is a good thing. But the error where I see in this movie, and it's a crucial error, and I think it might be crucial enough to tank the film in terms of the box office, is that the focus on the main character and having the themes weave into that main character and his arc and the plot line revolve around him to some extent, those things are in fact missing. And unfortunately, that, takes away a lot of weight from the film. And yeah, that's the gist of it. So Captain America: Brave New World, is it worth a watch? I will say this: if you like MCU movies, if you like superhero movies, it's worth checking out. But if you're not into them, if half the stuff I was saying earlier didn't make sense, then it's probably not worth checking out the movie. Out of 10, again, it's the first viewing, so it's hard to give it a rating out of the first viewing, but I'd say it's like a 6.5, 7 on a good day. So again, it's not a terrible movie, but to me, what really hurts is the lack of focus on the main character, which tells me that Marvel may or may not have figured out their issue over the past few years. If you guys want a spoiler-filled review where I go into the nitty-gritty of what is wrong with the movie, as well as, some alternate stories that I think could have worked better, feel free to hit me up in the comments and let me know. This is a review, Captain America: Brave New World. I'm checking out again, actually, tonight with my wife. So, again, I would recommend watching it. It's not terrible, but that issue, man, the lack of focus on the main character, to me, is a lot to handle. Anyways, I'm out. Do all the YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, subscribe, like, all the stuff. Follow, whatever they tell you guys to do these days. I'm excited. I still think that the MCU is coming back. There's some positives in terms of what's happening. But, yeah, a bit underwhelmed with the Brave New World. All right, I'm out. It's your man Lex. There's no such thing as entertainment. Peace.